Welcome back to another QuickFormational. I'm Sean Pennington, CEO of Solomon IT. Last week, we talked about vulnerability scans. This week, we're going to be talking about penetration testing. Penetration testing takes vulnerability scans to the next level. And I really mean next level. This isn't some kid's game where we're going, oh yeah, next level. That was awesome. No, this is the next level. So penetration testing takes not just the vulnerability scan, but it takes it the step further and it actually tries to actively hack using the vulnerabilities that it discovers. And then it's going to give us a report to say, hey, these are the systems that we were actually able to hack into. Now, it may be that it is able to attack file shares. It may be that it's able to get access to the root of the system. But regardless of what it is, it's going to take the vulnerabilities that it finds and it's going to try to parallel them in series to figure out a way to gain unauthorized access to your system through the vulnerabilities that it finds. Now, many of these systems are automated because you can automate stuff like that. AI is a fantastic tool nowadays, but depending on what you've got, it may be necessary to have a manual penetration test run on top of that. And so some MSPs will actually do a manual penetration test. Some will perform a certified ethical hack against your company. And those are a lot of fun to do because we get to actively get engaged in the hack and the attempt to breach your security. We do that through a lot of different fun ways. One of those ways is we use a vulnerability test to figure out what those weaknesses are. Now, we could do it from a blind-sided way and look at it directly from a black hat hacker. That's even more fun, in my opinion. But there's lots of legalities that go along with that. And so you have to be very careful as an MSP how you do that. But the beginning to all that is the vulnerability test. Then we want to take the penetration test. And if you really want to get into the weeds and have some fun as an MSP, we go into the ethical hack of doing it from the black hat side of things. So penetration testing isn't quite as glamorous, but it's absolutely going to tell you whether or not you have threats or vulnerabilities that can be used to circumvent your security and gain access to your systems. Depending on the industry you're in, those penetration tests, those vulnerability tests may be an absolutely required thing. You need to get with your compliance officers. If you don't have one, get with your MSP and find out what is required. For example, HIPAA is in the process of putting in place a twice-a-year vulnerability scan that has to be performed and a once-a-year penetration test. And currently, it is being focused on all healthcare, regardless of the size, which means that the cost of maintaining HIPAA just went up considerably. But how many prolific hacks have we had from healthcare so far? And you can see why these things are being implemented. And so HIPAA is just one of those compliances that is going down this path. There are other ones that are already there, but HIPAA being one of the more prominent ones that is now starting to come out and looking to require this. So again, this is what MSPs do. We do penetration testing. Hopefully your MSP does it, but if they don't, find somebody who can, because it's very beneficial for you to know where you're vulnerable and if it's a true vulnerability that can be exploited or not. I'm Sean Pennington. This is the QuickFormational of the week. Have a great weekend.